My horse is faster than your horse is the essence of thoroughbred racing. But when illegal medications are used to supplement breeding and training, the integrity of that competition is compromised. For a sport that depends on the betting public, that can be devastating. The thoroughbred is nature's ideal running machine, the product of hundreds of years of breeding the best to the best. The nonprofit Equine Drug Research Institute, under the guidance of the Grayson Jockey Club Research Foundation, is on the front line of the fight for our sport's integrity. EDRI, born of the collaborative efforts of thoroughbred industry leaders, was founded in 2005. Its mission? Developing new tests for drugs that have eluded detection and to provide those tests to equine testing labs free of charge. Dr. Don Catlin leads EDRI's dream team of scientists from both equine and human drug testing laboratories.
An equine testing lab, the standard lab, is not going to have the facilities to do the THG work that we did. They're not going to have 6 PhDs that they can put on a project for 2 months. It just doesn't work that way. Most of the equine labs are smaller and they're eking out a living. Some are larger and some could make an attempt at it, but you really need to marshal resources and have high-grade equipment and several different kinds of PhDs to put on focus on the problem. That's what you need, and that's what is needed in at least some places in the equine world.
Dr. Catlin is renowned for his work in exposing the Balco scandal, confirming that designer steroids had indeed infected the world of sports.
THG stands for tetrahydrogestrinone. It's a brilliant drug in some ways. It's a clandestine drug. You can't buy it. A pharmaceutical company doesn't make it. A chemist made it, and he made it such that when you take the drug, it really makes you big and strong and you run faster than anybody. It's the most powerful anabolic steroid. But we found in the laboratory, when we got it, we got a little tiny drop of it, and we spent 2 months isolating and figuring out what it was. It was a designer steroid. We had never, ever seen it before. And it had a couple of characteristics that made it unique. As soon as we put it in our instruments, which then were just GCMS, it disintegrated. So it was invisible. And the way our work functions, if we don't know exactly what it is, and if we don't have its coordinates, and if we're not looking exactly for the drug, we'll never see it. We're blind to it. We were blind to THG. And after 2 months of hard work, we figured it out, and we were no longer blind to it. Problem solved.
Dr. Catlin now lends his considerable expertise and credibility to our battle for the competitive soul of thoroughbred racing.
You have to have a level playing field. Otherwise, it's the best drugs win. And, you know, if I turn my hat around and you say, here, you go out here to this track and you figure out a way to jazz up those horses, I guarantee you I'll do it. And you'll pay a lot of money to my stable because we're going to win.
The horse is an innocent victim when those around it decide to take shortcuts with its care. Caroline Hatton is a world-leading authority on the detection of anabolic steroids and works as a senior scientist for EDRI.
All professionals involved in horse breeding and horse racing should not want doping, because doping is going to undermine and slowly destroy the breed. If doping exists, then the horse who wins is not necessarily winning on his natural ability, and therefore, if those are the genes that are being propagated, that is a serious problem.
Ensuring a horse that reaches the winner's circle did it on ability and not chemistry requires a group effort.
The horse comes to the table just as a horse. Bless their heart, bless their soul. They just like to run, they like to be trained. And somebody gives them a drug. They don't have any choice. They're given the drug. The human has a choice. The horse has no choice. So it's somebody in the entourage, if you will, of the horse that makes the decision. And it's those people that you have to focus on. The testing is the same, but the penalties should be meted out to the people who actually are deliberately taking this poor animal and treating them with something to make their life shorter, to run faster over a short period of time. That's just pretty evil and heinous, and that's where you got to nip it. You got to stop it.
Dr. Catlin says it's important to remember that while the task seems daunting, EDRI has made real progress in a short time.
EDRI in its first year took on the task of developing a way to screen and detect and then confirm beta-2 agonists, a class of drugs that affect the airways, basically, in this context. They open them up and make horses able to run faster. They're they have stimulant qualities, and they have improved airway conduction. Beta-2 agonists is a whole classification of drugs that have multiple different ways to detect them. And we developed a method and packaged it that can detect, I think we're up to about 17 different drugs now. Our second year, our project is the erythropoietin family. Erythropoietin family are drugs like EPO and darbepoetin, which when given to a human or a horse, increase the amount of red cells.
Protecting the horse and preserving the breed are lofty goals, and they don't come cheap. Supporters of this project aim to raise $3 million in the initial funding phase. Labs like this one at Iowa State University test the samples taken from horses that have raced. Dr. Walter Hyde has 25 years' experience as this lab's director, and he says EDRI's work is exactly what this doctor ordered.
The biggest benefit I've seen out of the EDRI program is the fact that I see real product is just around the bend. In fact, I've already seen real product in a beta test version in my laboratory. We've used that product by virtue of a test for the beta agonists and the respiratory agents at a level of detection much lower than we've been capable of heretofore seeing, and we've already had some tickles on real samples that we believe may lead to positives.
Pursuit of a level playing field is not an inexpensive proposition. State-of-the-art equipment and talented researchers are, however, paying major dividends to the thoroughbred industry.
I think horse racing has a fantastic opportunity to start a program and set it up right and run it right and fund it right and become a role model for other sports, human sports, and the rest of the world.
To me, the most exciting part of EDRI is it's a grassroots industry formed and developed by people who are inside the industry, and they know it. And they have come together and say, okay, we have a problem, and I want to make it better, and I'm going to write a check to make that better. There are various individuals who have a lot to do, a lot of interest, and they're trying to help protect their industry, and they're willing to spend money to make that happen. That's just phenomenal.